Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful. Today I'm here to talk to you about something a little bit different than usual, but it's just something that is on my mind and it's kind of hard to talk about, to be honest, but I feel like I need to say something, and it's just a message that all of us need to hear as parents, as siblings, from time to time. And sometimes it's just, unfortunately, the kind of reminder that we only pay attention to or get when there's tragedy. So, as I've mentioned here before, I was a teacher for 3 years before I dedicated all of my time to my kids and my writing and trying to make this self-publishing thing happen. So I taught middle school while I wrote the first few of my books. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grades, and I still talk to my former colleagues pretty often. I see some of my students pretty often just because I'm pretty involved with my nephews and what they're up to, and I tend to go to their soccer games and basketball games and stuff like that. And so I found out recently that one of my former students, who is now in high school, recently took his own life, and it was just shocking to hear that that had happened. Incredibly sad. He was one of my students when he was in 7th grade. Extremely bright kid, such a cool kid, and it's just so sad to know that he's gone. And it's just something that's been weighing on my mind and on my heart since I found out. I think when you have kids of your own, it just takes it to another level of heartbreak, because you just never know, I think. You just never know what someone else is struggling with, what your own children might be struggling with from such a young age even. You just never know. And so it's just something that I wanted to talk about for a few minutes. This video probably won't go on too long because, like I said, it's just tough to talk about in the first place, but I do think it's something that all of us need to hear from time to time. And I think as writers, I think it's so easy for us to just focus on working all the time, and especially when you're an author and you're self-publishing and you basically own your own business and you're doing it all yourself, it can be so easy to forget that we need to pay attention to our loved ones too. And whether that's our kids, our spouses, any other family members or friends that you may have, you just never know what they're going through. And sometimes, if you're just so focused on what's going on with you and your business and your writing, it can be easy for us to forget that they might be struggling with something and they might never say anything. And so I think it's just served as a reminder to me that I need to make sure that I'm not working too hard, that I am giving my kids the time and the attention that they need. The work will always be waiting for me after I am done giving them the love and attention that they need and deserve. And I think in the past, I've especially struggled with being a little bit of a workaholic and never wanting to step away from the computer, just carrying my laptop with me all around the house. And I still do that a lot. And it can be so easy even to, without even thinking about it, your kids can be talking to you and you're just not even looking at them. You're not paying attention. You just don't know what. And especially teenagers who don't usually like to be bothered by their parents too much and they'd rather they be left alone. But I think the teenage years is another age where kids just need their parents so much, and I think sometimes parents, when their kids reach that age, sometimes they just think that they don't need their attention as much anymore. And I just think it's important for us to remember that kids need our attention all the time, even when they're adults, when they're teenagers especially, because high school is tough, middle school is tough. As a teacher, I saw it. As a high schooler and middle schooler, it was tough for me too. The amount of bullying that goes on, and kids can just be very mean to each other. And if they also feel like they're not happy at home for whatever reason, you just don't know. You just don't know what could happen. And I think it's so important for us to remember that we need to give our kids as much time and attention and love as we can give them. Always listen to them, look at them when they're talking to you, put your work down and just spend a few hours with them, ask them about their day, just really focus on your relationship with your kids, or if it's your sibling, if it's a close friend of yours. Just make time for those people that you love in your life, because you just never know what could happen. I don't know, I guess that's all I have to say about it. It's just, like I said, it's tough to kind of talk about, and I feel like it's a topic you have to be careful with too. But if anything, we should all remember that your kids need you, no matter how old, no matter how little they are. They need you, and they deserve your love and attention. I think as parents, it's really easy to feel like we're not perfect, like we fail our kids every single day when you lose your patience or you lose your temper, or you're not giving them the healthiest meals or anything like that. If you don't read a book to them every single night, like, we're failures as parents sometimes. But I think it's also important to remember that, especially when they're little, like, you're everything to them. You're their whole world. They love you more than anything, and they love you even with all of your flaws. They love each and every bit of you. And I think if you just strive to be a little bit better every day, to work on correcting those flaws, if you yell too much, which I can do sometimes, if you lose your patience sometimes, if there's something that you feel like you could do better, that you're not doing enough, just take it one day at a time and just try to be better. I think that's the most important thing, is just take a step back when something like that happens and just try to do better the next time. Don't be too hard on yourself, but just, if you're ever struggle with that question of, do I sit down and do I work for another 30 minutes, or do I go read my kid a bedtime story? Do I go snuggle with him on the couch? Lately, I've been learning that, you know what, I'm gonna go snuggle with my kid on the couch. I'm going to close my computer and I'm going to hug her, and we're gonna watch TV together, or we're gonna go out, or I'm just gonna have a conversation to her and listen to her talk because she loves to talk. Yeah, just do everything in your power to love your kids, to love your loved ones, whoever it is that's important to you. Just be there for them. The work will always be waiting for us. There are times when you will be able to sit down and work on it, when they're at school, when they're at work, or whatever. Before you know it, your kids will be grown and gone. But while they're little, while they're teenagers, just make sure you're giving them as much time as possible. When it's work time, work, but when they're home and they need you a little bit, and just spend time with them, because you just never know. So yeah, I know, kind of hard to talk about, kind of hard to listen to, I'm sure, but it's just something we have to talk about sometimes, something that we all have to remember. Nobody's perfect. But yeah, just hug your kids a little tighter today. If you have any thoughts, leave them below. And I'm gonna go, because I think I've said all I needed to say. And yeah, I think that was just my purpose for this video, was to give a reminder to myself and to anybody who's watching that we just need to be the best parents we can be and give our kids as much love as we can. So yeah, I'll be back with you next week. I feel like I'm ending this video on a little bit of a sad note, but at the same time, I don't know, I just always try to see the positive in life and be grateful, be extremely grateful for everything that I have, for everyone that I have in my life who is there for me. When it starts to feel a little bit sad and hopeless, I just tell myself that, what is in my power to do? to make a difference. And the answer for me is, I can be the best mom I can be to my kids. So that's what I'm going to do. I may not be able to fix all the world's problems or help every kid in need or every person in need, but you know what? I am going to be the absolute best mom that I can be. And that starts with being there for my kids. So yeah, just something to keep in mind when things like this happen. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.